Okay, speaking of the maps, I want to show you an interactive map that really kind of just hammers home all that we've been talking about. This is again from the PBS website, The Rise and Fall of Jim Crow, and I really do recommend that you explore all these things in here. I am really just scratching the surface because of all this wonderful COVID-19 stuff. I'm truncating this a little bit. So let's go to the interactive maps, and I want to show you the maps regarding lynching and riots. The oppression of blacks came during the Jim Crow era was sustained not only through the enactment of laws, but through violence, as we have talked about. The most heinous of which, the most evil of which, could be lynching, when mass mob assaults on blacks occurred. The map here of the US shows all the documented lynchings for white people and black people during the years between 1882 and 1968. Lynching again when a mob of people kidnap and hang someone without a trial. Again, it only shows black and white, but in places like Texas, you had lynchings of Latinos. And in places like California, you would have lynchings of both Latinos and Asians, in addition to blacks and whites. But this map only deals with blacks and whites. You can see the white states over here in New England. You have New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island. These four states had zero documented lynchings of anybody between 1882 and 1968. Maine had one white person. Minnesota, I'm sure you're curious about. 4 black folks and 5 white folks were lynched in that 86-year time span. 3 of those 4 black people were lynched in one terrible night in Duluth in 1920. It was the Robinson Show circus lynchings. There's a memorial, a statue in downtown Duluth that memorializes this event. 3 black boys were falsely accused of raping a white girl. It never happened. Word spread around Duluth, and a mob of 10,000 people broke into the jail and one by one dragged these 3 boys up a hill in downtown Duluth and hanged them. At one point, a Catholic priest climbed up a pole and tried to stop them and said, "This is wrong, this is a sin." To which the angry mob replied, "Keep talking, Father, and you're next." And they would have. I have an article on my Moodle page, several articles about this very lynching. In the packet that I've alluded to in the Moodle page, there's a story called The Robinson Show Lynchings. And then there are some other things that are involved too that are on my Moodle page. Check it out. So that's Minnesota. Maine, 0 up here. New York State, 1 black, 1 white person. But in the South, it was a different story. I'm going to show you Mississippi, which is where our novel took place. In the very same time span, 1882 to 1968, here are Mississippi's numbers. 539 blacks, 42 whites. Alabama. Georgia. 500 blacks, 40 whites. Look at the disparity. Florida. Texas. In fact, you go down the Mississippi River, it gets worse as you go from north to south. Minnesota, Iowa, Missouri, Arkansas, Mississippi. Race riots. All the states in yellow had race riots, including a famous one in Tulsa, Oklahoma, which was an all-out race war. They even used airplanes to drop firebombs on black neighborhoods. Pictures tell 1,000 words, don't they?